Welcome to the Municity Connect overview video. In today's video, we will be going over Municity Connect basic navigation. We'll be going over the Municity Connect application process, including submittal and payment, as well as the issue submittal process. Let's go ahead and jump in. Something important to note about Municity Connect is it does have a separate web address, so this will be a separate link that will be provided for you to put onto your municipal website to guide your constituency. Any branding, such as the images and the name and the seal, will be matched to your municipal site so that there is a seamless transition between your website to the public portal. Additionally, as this is connected to your Municity 5 system, any work that your constituents do in here, you will be able to have final say in the back end of Municity. The first item your constituents will need to do is they will need to register for the public portal to be able to do any activities highlighted in these navigation buttons. To register, they will just need to click in the top right corner to register. You'll see there is a little button here to register themselves, which they will click on and enter their contact information. They can also enable two-factor authentication if desired. Once they have a login, they'll be able to go ahead and sign into Municity Connect, where they will then choose your municipality. From here, if they are not a member of your municipality's Municity 5 address book, they will need to enter themselves or register themselves. But once they do, they will have access to any of these activities. Let's take a look at these buttons. The top three buttons are going to be available to all Municity Connect sites. They will be including a dashboard. This dashboard is going to show your constituent all of the items that they have submitted to you. Property lookup will allow them to look up specific properties, and Map GIS is going to be similar to the GIS viewer you have in Municity 5. We'll take a look at those in just a moment. I just want to talk about these buttons momentarily. These buttons are going to be navigation tools for your constituency. Each tile will be named an action, and as you can see, as I hover over the tiles, we can even put a little explainer here to assist your constituent further in making sure they are making an informed decision. All of that is configurable. So let's take a look at these top three buttons. I'm going to go ahead and select my dashboard. This will open up my user profile, which will show me drop-down menus, expandable menus of every item I've ever submitted to Municity Connect. Here I have my applications where I can go ahead and click on them to open them up. I can sort by a status. That's what these gray buttons are. So if I'm only looking for submitted, I can go ahead and click that, or I can go ahead and run a search. So if I'm a contractor, I'm looking for one of my particular properties, I can go ahead, run that search, and that will whittle down my results for me. From here, I can click on my application and it'll open up in front of me so I can further investigate information about my application, such as outstanding tasks, any outstanding fees, or even if I need to send a quick comment over to you guys on your end. But we'll take a look at all this when we get to the applications. Other items that your constituents will be able to do here is view permits. Part of that process is the claiming permits. This can be turned on or turned off based on your preference, but they can add legacy permits to their profiles if you so choose. They do need to know identifying information such as the permit number, and once they get the permit number, they will need to know the accompanying address. Let's go back to our front page here. The next button here is property lookup. Once I click on property lookup, you'll see that a nice little property lookup button will arise on the right hand side here. If I would like to have this property lookup overlaid on the map, I can also click the map button, and now I have my GIS map viewer. Let me just zoom in here with my mouse scroll, as well as my property lookup activated. From here, I do have the ability to click on a given parcel and it will locate my closest parcel to where I clicked. But what most of your constituents will do is actually enable a lookup by typing in an address. From here, they can type in the address, hit their search, and what will happen is all of the results will populate, allowing them to select on any given property and open up that particular parcel card. Now, on these parcel cards, you will have the opportunity to decide how much of this information is going to be publicly accessible. The group and field information up top, so you will decide which information group you would like to be publicly available, as well as if there are any fields in those groups you want to be publicly available. On this particular parcel, we only allow the address and tax information, as well as a few key fields. Down below, you can choose anything from your Items tab to be visible as well. For example, this is the Media tab where I can go in and view information such as a report or even a picture that's been uploaded here. I can also go over to Applications, and I have the ability to view history of applications. You as the staff will be able to determine which tabs. So do I want Applications, Complaints, Inspections, as well as individual columns. So on my applications, do I want the department to be visible? Do I want the status to be visible? These are all items that will be configurable to turn on and off based on your preference for transparency. You'll also notice up at the top here, there are certain buttons for actions that we can enable. A print key will allow your constituency to generate a report, a letter, an invoice, a receipt. So that is something that we can turn on for you. Similar to how you generate your printouts in Municity, they would have the ability to generate specific ones if you prefer. There are also activity buttons that they can do, such as applying for a permit right off their searched parcel or creating a service request. That would be reporting an issue for a work order or something of that nature. I'm going to close out of this and we're going to talk a little bit more about navigation before we move over to applications. So I am just going to go back to our main page by clicking the top here. Now you'll also see as my mouse heads over to the left-hand side that a menu will expand out. This menu is also going to be a sidebar menu for your constituents to choose an activity. So if they prefer to use these over tiles, this does also apply. You can choose which of these buttons. It'll depend on the program of work process you want to enable online, such as applying for permits, registrations, requesting inspections, etc. We can also turn on a requesting calendar here that would give them the ability to request inspections, but that's information for another day. And one last navigation piece is there will be a support button here for your constituency if they do have issues. In this support button, we will put your municipal number that you will be using. This will be their first line of support that they will use if they have questions about their applications. Any technical issues with their login can be escalated to ICC CDS for repair. However, the first line of defense will be you guys, as there are generally going to be questions about the content of the application and other items that need to be uploaded. So with that, that'll conclude our navigation, and our next section will be talking about application process. Okay, let's jump into online applications. To navigate to application types, we will do one of two things. We're first going to set up a tile, depending on how you would like this to be laid out. We can do a generalized permitting tile. All of your application types would then be nested under one layer of departments. So I click on permitting, click my department, and then my permit types will list for me. Another method that we see often is each department having their own dedicated tile, so that if I have a planning application, I click on planning and my planning menu populates in front of me. From here, your constituent will just read the title, read the explainer description provided, which will come from the internal staff. You'll have the opportunity to put these explainers on each individual application if desired, and then your constituent will select using this green select button. Once they do, you'll see an application pop up in front of them. From here, you'll see there's quite a few different fields in here. Different applications will have different data fields depending on what information you need, and your constituent will be tasked with filling these out. You'll see some of these, if I click away, they'll turn red. That is because it will be required. We can make certain fields required. We can make all fields required. That will mean that there needs to be content in there for the constituent to move on. You'll also see with some of these fields, if I hover over them, a pop-up will arise giving a brief description of what that field is. We can put these on whichever fields that you believe need an extra explainer, or just anywhere where you think it's applicable. We can also lock down fields with numerals versus characters. For example, cost of construction here, I want this to only be numbers. Once they finish their fields, their required fields, they can move on to their next step, which will be the parcel selector. If they were not already on a parcel when they selected application, this is where they will have the opportunity to choose the proper location of where this application is going to be. From here, they can either search for an address, so they can type it in and it will populate the results for them, or what they also have the opportunity to do is select from map. If they search by results, we can turn it on to only main parcels, or we can also include any occupants. So as you can see, I have my main parcel and my 2 occupants in here, which I can add to my application. Or there's an opportunity to also select from map. So this is if you have permits like a right-of-way or ones that are just more dependent on a location versus an address. The applicant can just choose on the map, select the longitude and latitude, and that will be carried over to the application for you to review. We are going to leave it to 53 Capri today because I do happen to know that's the address. Our next step on this application is going to be selecting individual contacts. So all these contacts added will have access to the application through their public portal accounts. As the logged in user, I'm also a contractor for Sally, so I'm going to identify myself as such and make myself the primary applicant. My coworker Peter is also going to be working with me, so I'm going to leave him here, but I could also search for Terry if I was interested. As you can see, Terry will pop up and I can add him to the system. Additionally, if you would like to give your constituency the power, they can create new contacts. So if I have a new hire at my contracting firm, I can also add them to your address book and add them to the application. The homeowner will always be part of the application. As you can see, they are grayed out and cannot be removed. This is so Sally can always have access to this application of the work being done on her property. Another item about this page here is you'll see there's bold text up at the top. This is instruction text. This can also be edited to what your preferred language is if they have preferred members that you would like them to add. So for example, if you would like to restrict this to contractors, engineers, and architects, we can restrict it to contractors, engineers, and architects. The next step here in our application process is to upload a document. We will be asking you for a listing of all of your required documents, either overall or based on your different application types. They will show up in a list down below here for which your constituent will upload their documents. So here I'm going to go to my plans, upload some plans here. Once I have them uploaded, I do have to match to the list. So I'm just going to grab my upload, match it to the list here, and hit next. As you can see, I'm going to hit back here for a moment. It also renamed that document. This is to assist you when this information comes in, so it's not named some random keyboard punch that the constituent saved to their desktop. Our next step here is a task that'll show up on the application as well as a protective step for you. The constituent does need to assert that they understand that because I've submitted something online that I can't do work on whatever the permit or application is for. This is, again, protective step for you. Generally, the language up top will come from a town, city, council. However, if you have wording you would prefer to use or you would like our wording, that's all configurable information. So here I have to sign it using my online account name. And now I can move on to an online payment. Now, online payments through Municity Connect are through our preferred vendors. We have a list of them. We can create new integrations, but those do need to be scoped by our development team before we give a final yes or no on those. But we do have a list of preferred payment processors that we have worked with in the past. When we set up your online payments for Municity, you can have that be certain applications have upfront payments or all applications have upfront payments, or no applications have upfront payments. If you opt to have no upfront payments, then when a fee is added to an application, the constituent can come back here and pay the fee through their dashboard. I'll show you what that looks like momentarily. But here we have an upfront payment. I can elect to pay via credit card using any of the accepted options here. This particular payment processor also allows electronic check, so I could manage that as well. It will also, once I put in my payment information, calculate a convenience fee set by the payment processor, and then I as the constituent pay all of that. If I do not want to pay up front, I do have button options here where I can come in and pay in the office. Maybe I just have cash from the homeowner that I need to bring in. Or if I'm a contractor doing multiple applications, I can also select add to cart so I can bulk pay fees after I put in all my different applications. We're going to select pay in office today, hit next, and now what we have here is our application review. Each one of these collapsible, expandable fields is going to show me an item I've submitted where I can review. So here I can make sure the property is correct, the contacts are correct, and the data is correct. There is also a button here to notify changes about my application. What that means is I'm essentially subscribing myself to application changes. So a status change, a fee gets added, an inspection gets added. I, as the applicant, will receive an automated email. If I check off of this, I won't receive the automated emails, but I can still check on all that information from my dashboard. If I change my mind and want to subscribe back, I can at any point through my dashboard. I'm going to go ahead and hit submit here. What the system will do is it will push the application to Municity 5, and now I as the constituent can view it here. Here I can see that I have a print button here. I can generate my invoice. So let's say I needed to take this to my boss to get money so I can go back and pay the fee. I can generate my invoice here without waiting. And I can also view other information such as tasks that are attached to this application, giving me an idea of timeline. I can view documents I've submitted or documents that have been shared with me. I can review the fee that's been added and paid if I would like. Adjust the context, so maybe I'm switching out contractors. And then there's also a commenting field. This opens a direct line of communication between you and the constituent outside of a phone call or email, and it's a nice organizational tool for you if you have questions or answers for them. So here I'm going to add a question. I can also add a picture here if I would like to illustrate my question. And then once I hit submit, it's going to push into a chat right on the application itself. So now that I'm done here, I don't have to do much else. I can go back to my dashboard and view that application under submitted here. And as you can see, I can click on it and open it right back up. But let's see this from your end. From your end, for the staff, we're going to go right back over to Municity 5. I'm going to refresh my online dashboard, and you'll see there's that application that came in today. From here, I will manage this application as normal. I'll go to my items tab. There's all my tasks in here, including the approved one that the constituent signed. Any media uploaded lives within here, including I can see the document that he generated himself. I can open up the plans that were shared with me. And also I can go into my comments here and view and comment back. This will timestamp the conversation and save it into the comments field of this application. Once this application is finished and I want to move it to a permit, I can convert it as I would normally. I can generate documents as I would normally, and everything will be shared with our constituent through their online dashboard. They don't need to come into the office at all. That's the nice thing of having everything online, but they could come into the office if they needed to. So that'll cover applications in a nutshell. I think now we can move on to issues. The last process we'll be talking about in this video is the issue reporting process. As you can see, we can add a button here for your constituent or to the sidebar for them to report an issue. Here we call it see something, say something with a pop-up that says create an issue. Another method that your constituents can enter issues over to is if they would prefer to utilize the GIS map or the property lookup. They can either select a section on the map or select a parcel off the map or perform their search and grab their parcel from here. from when they select the parcel, there will be a little button at the top, create a service request, and from here they can enter their issue. If they choose from the tile, they will be brought directly to this page. Your constituent will then grab from a list of various issue types. These will be gleaned from you guys, depending on what type of issues that you want to accept from your constituency. Here I have a couple examples, such as sidewalk cracking, pothole, but there will also be ones in here that you can add, such as general questions, fire safety concerns, etc., etc. The final say of list will be up to the internal staff. I'm going to go ahead and select sidewalk crackling here. Sidewalk cracked in front of house. And I'm going to just put my issue location in front of my house. No worries on not having longitude and latitude or any of that information here, because we do have a parcel selector step, but I also just want to be clear, these fields are also configurable depending on what information you want to get from the complainant. I'm just going to enter my name in here. And now we can move on to our next step, which is selecting the location. Because I had selected it from a parcel, it pre-made that selection for me, but we can add the select from map button here if it is somewhere that is maybe outside of a parcel and is more location based. My next step for issues is to submit a photo. So this will allow your constituents to snap a picture. What did I say? Sidewalk cracks. And you can add your photo in. And then same as our applications, we can review and subscribe if we would like to. Because I'm just letting you guys know, I'm going to notify and submit. As we saw with the application, this will open my issue in front of me in case I wanted to add a comment or anything of that nature. But I feel pretty content that I've reported and submitted my picture here. So I'm going to move on with my day. For you guys in the staff end, this issue will land in a specialized dashboard. I'm just going to refresh here, and there's our sidewalk cracking issue. From here, we're going to open it up. We will have specific groups and fields depending on information you want to collect. That'll have an issue number. The location information will be brought over. Additionally, what you'll see here is we can add fields for status. So if you would like to employ statuses on your issues, we can certainly do that. The media that was submitted to me is also in here, so I can go in and clearly see there is a sidewalk crack. And on my overview page, I can either convert this to a work order, so the town is going to go out and repair, and I can create that work order from our list of types and manage it as normal. So you can see I've got a list of types here, put in my parts used, etc. Or we can convert it to a complaint using the complaint button. From here, we would attach it to the property address, grab our complaint type depending on the initial issue, and then work our complaints as normal. For the initial issue, if it has a status, you can close it out. You can communicate back to the initial person, or you can leave it. It's up to you how you would like that process to run. And for the constituent on their end, they can always check a status by going to their dashboard and viewing the past issues that they've submitted. Okay, I hope that was helpful to you, and I hope you have a wonderful day.